Atlanta police officers are railroaded by the DA. Police across Atlanta lead the force, and the culture purge continues. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is a Guy on a Freedom Show. Alright, so I hope everyone is having themselves a great week. Happy Saturday. Yeah, we have a lot to get today. A lot of news going on this week. Really just so far this year. It's been nonstop. Suffice it to say that our nation is in a not very good place right now. Like, we are just in a state of utter chaos all around. Not only with the pandemic happening, and then now we have all these the race riots and everything, and the protests, and now the culture purge going on. Right now, it's all a mess. It's all a complete mess. It's just, I don't know. It's just, we are not in a very good place right now. But I mean, I have faith that we'll get out of it eventually. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of work, honestly. So the first thing I want to get to today is the whole thing that happened in Atlanta with the police officers and the guy named Rayshard Brooks, and the shooting involving around there. So probably a lot of y'all probably already heard the whole story and everything. How basically what happened is that there was this guy named Rayshard Brooks who passed out drunk in a Wendy's drive-thru, and then I guess one of the workers, employees, whatever, called the police on him to see what's going on. The police got there, and then they talked to him for 25 minutes. For 25 minutes, they talked to him, and it was a very polite exchange and everything. And then also during the conversation, they were doing a DUI test. You're kind of seeing how he can see if he could walk a straight line and everything. You know how if you've seen probably DUI tests and on cops or whatever. And basically, they gave him a breathalyzer test, and of course, he did fail because he was drunk and everything. So, after I taught him, they obviously after he failed, they were set to arrest him as they should. And of course, if they would arrest him, he probably would have done a few days in jail for a DUI and probably gone to a kind of a DUI school or something like that, something small like that. And really, any normal person probably would have just cooperated with the police, because I mean they weren't being threatening or anything. But Rayshard Brooks decided to just for some reason to resist arrest, resist them, fight them off and everything, to get kind of struck and everything, hitting them and all that. And at one point, he actually stole one of their tasers and got loose and started to run. And then when the police officers chased after him, and then the Brooks then turned around, shot the taser at the cop, and then he missed, but still he shot a taser at a cop, and then the cop took his gun and shot him dead. And of course, this brought on an entire controversy and everything, saying that it was an unjustified shoot and everything. He was murdered. Brooks was murdered in cold blood and all that, which is complete nonsense. Everything I just said is pretty much the facts of the case. I mean, if you don't believe me, there is video of it. I'm actually going to show you a few the videos that came with it. The first one I want to show you is basically this is kind of towards the end of their conversation between the police and Brooks, and you can see you'll see him. They start to handcuff Brooks, and he starts fighting them off. But here's the video right here.
I'm not sure. It was, like I said, it was her birthday, and it was my daughter's birthday, intent to, have a good time. And I said, babe, I'm hungry. Let's go. My baby's mom, she was there. I said, babe, go ahead. I'm cool. Here's the money for the blow-up bed tomorrow. Here's the money for, to enjoy herself tomorrow. Just, give me a burger or something. Right. Just Take me home. I'm ready to go.
So you had about 1.5 drinks. You don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr. All
All right. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back. Hey, stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! Stop!
Mr.
So you see it there. I mean, it's not like the police didn't escalate this at all. They simply didn't. And people are saying that it was the police that escalated the violence and everything. No, that's not true. We got tape right here that the police were completely respectful. I mean, even Brooks was respectful to the police, like kind of talking to them, which was kind of a nice little conversation. It's really like what you would normally see in a DUI situation. But then Brooks decided himself to just fight them off and like try to get free and everything. And of course, I think probably the biggest reason why he did this is because I think he just got out of jail or something, or he was on probation. And of course, you know, getting a DUI is a violation of a probation in Georgia, I think. And then he probably would have done actually a longer time than just like a few days in jail. But I mean, that's maybe I don't know a whole lot about the whole probation thing and everything, but still, I mean, Brooks is the one that was escalated the situation right here. And here's the video from another angle of them, like, the police trying to get him, like, contained and everything, but he was still just fighting them off. But here's the video right here for it. And you can see like them just like, yeah, I mean, this guy is strong too. Like he successfully got free, took a taser, and started running. So, and here's where things, where the whole situation like went, kind of sideways a little bit. So, you know, like I said, Brooks takes the taser, starts to run, and then one of the cops goes after him and tries to chase him down. But then, as you see in this video, Brooks turned around and shot the taser at the police officer, and he was gunned down by him. But here's the video right here for that. So, I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, you can clearly see him, and see Brooks, turn around and shooting the taser at the police. I mean, it's not like you can't see that. I mean, if you have good eyes, I mean, you really don't even need good eyes to see that. I mean, it's pretty clear. Pretty perfect clear. And then, so, basically what I'm going at is, like, this shoot was a good shoot. It was a justified shoot because, I mean, really, under Georgia law, actually, a taser is a deadly weapon. And of course, and if you get hit by a taser just right, in the right spot, you can die from it. But, of course, being in the political environment we are now, this is because the officers were white and the guy was black. It was an unjustified shoot, and he was murdered in cold blood. It was all for racist reasons and everything, which is, of course, completely nonsense. So, you know, like I said, this was a justified shoot. It was a good shoot under any normal circumstances. This would have been ruled as a justified shoot. But, of course, like I said, being in the political environment we are right now, the DA for Fulton County, which his name is Paul Howard, decided to basically bow to the political mob, to the woke and the left, and basically charge these guys, both of these guys. And let's just say the charges are complete and utter BS. Complete and utter BS. All around. So, the officer that that shot Brooks. His name is Garrett Ralph. Garrett Rolfe or Ralph or whatever, how you pronounce his last name. But so here's what the DA charged him with. So he was charged with 11 charges for this guy, including felony murder and aggravated assault. Now, and the second officer involved in this was Devin Brosnan. He was charged with he's facing 3 charges, including aggravated assault. For some reason, I don't know why, but seriously, for Garrett Rolfe was charged with felony murder. And for those who don't know, felony murder is pretty much, there has to be, for it to be proven a felony murder, there has to be proven that he was, in fact, had a premeditated murder. Basically, he planned on, like, he got in the car, planned on, all right, let's go kill a black guy tonight, or something like that. And that's pretty much like the way a felony murder would have been proven. And obviously, if you watch, I played a video for it. And the reason for that is because of this. You can clearly see from the video that it was not premeditated, and plus for murder, it has to be cold blooded. It has to be like you go up to someone and shoot them. That's cold blood murder, right there. Obviously, from the video, that's not the case. And with felony murder, the sentence for that is either life in prison or the death penalty. And from the charges he's getting, he'll more likely get the death penalty, which is complete and is so absurd on so many levels. Like, seriously, you can potentially put this guy to death for political reasons. That's the only reason why this happened, is for political reasons. There is no chance in any other county in Georgia where this would have been, where these guys would have been charged. There's no chance. You can't look at that. Any sane person, you don't have to be a prosecutor to look at this. You can't look at that video and say that's definitely premeditated murder. He should be charged for felony murder and go to be put on death row. You cannot look at that. And if you look at that video and say yes, he definitely should be put to death, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, because clearly the politics are blinding you to the facts right here. So, and like, don't give me the whole, oh, the taser is not a deadly weapon or whatever, or he missed with his taser, so he wasn't a threat and everything. Again, but under Georgia law, a taser is a deadly weapon. And the thing is, the same DA who is saying that, in this case, that a taser is not a deadly weapon, 2 weeks ago, when he was charging police for police brutality against some protesters or whatever, he said, and I quote this, a taser is a deadly weapon under Georgia law. So why the sudden change? And the reason for the sudden change is because of political reasons. That is the only way possible this happened right here. But I'm guessing that he was, because with this DA actually, he's actually under investigation by the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, for I think taking money from the nonprofit organizations or something like that. So he's under investigation from them. He's in a tough primary election right now, between another guy, and so this is probably why he did this. And not only that, it's because he probably got pressure from many members of the left trying to make these officers an example out of. Like, take these officers, charge them with the worst charges you can think of to make an example out of them, which is so sickening beyond imagination. Like, you're gonna seriously possibly put this guy to death because you want to bow to the political mob. I'm sorry, you guys. Like, that's you. If you if you seriously think that this guy, this Garrett Rolfe, who's been in the police force for years and everything, who seems like a really good guy actually, so if you're gonna say that he should put to death over a situation like this because it supports your narrative, or to support your narrative that all cops are bad and need to be punished and everything, you're lost your soul. You're lost your soul, because no sane person would actually want this to happen to the police officer. It is so sickening. And you know what's going to happen after this? You know what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of police officers going to leave the force, because why in the world would you put yourself, continue working in a job where if you do your job, you can potentially be fired and be arrested and prosecuted? Like, why would you put yourself through that? And the thing is, there are police that are doing it right now. In several precincts across Atlanta, there has been a lot of officers who have, like, all right, sorry for the random, like, gap right there. I mean, my camera stopped again. I don't know why it keeps doing that. There's plenty of room in it, in my files, so I just don't know what's going on with that. But again, like I said, there's been a lot of officers who have basically walked off the police force and everything, and that means in Atlanta, like a lot of precincts, that basically officers calling in sick, or calling in sick, but basically they're saying, okay, guys, if we're going to be railroaded for simply doing our jobs, why would we do this? Why would we simply just go, why would we continue to do that? And I don't blame them. And I think this is probably going to continue to happen across major cities across the country. And when that happens, these major cities are going to be in a complete and utter mess. And the Democrats and the people, politicians who are calling for the defund of the police can't go crying to them saying, "How dare you abandon us," or anything. You brought this on yourselves. You brought this on yourselves when you're trying to railroad a bunch of police for simply doing their jobs. You brought that on yourselves. So it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a big mess, and I don't know, this whole situation with the police and, like, everybody calling them to be dismantled and everything is gonna come back and bite them in the butt when they need the police, but they're not gonna be available. Alrighty, so I'm gonna continue on right here with the news and everything, but first you gotta go over to YouTube or the God of Freedom blog to check out the rest of the episode. So not only will we get to where I talk about continue to talk about the culture purge happening right now, but also you get to where I'm going to be continuing to go over the book of John. I'm going to be in John chapter 13 today. Sorry, I'm going to be in John chapter 13 today, and you get also the good stuff ambassador of the week. And remember, you can find me on your favorite podcast listening sites like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week. This is the God of Freedom Show. Alrighty, so let's continue on with the news right here. So let's go on to the cancel culture purge, the culture purge that's happening right now. The left is on a complete purge to cancel everything, every single thing they don't like, and it's getting pretty weird. Like they're going after like earlier this week they are canceling and forcing what is it? I forget the company name, but are Quaker Oats to change the Aunt Jemine. I hope I'm getting that name right. The Aunt Jemine syrup, pancake syrup. They're changing the logo of her face. They're taking off her face off the syrup bottle because it's supposedly racist or something like that. which is weird in some sense. I don't get why, because here's the thing. Here's a story about her. In Gemini, she was the reason why they probably took it up because she was a slave or something like that. But here's the story. The left is not telling you her whole story. Basically, you know, she was born a slave and everything. She worked as a slave, but she was eventually freed. And then, but she had, so basically she took she was a very good cook, it turns out. And so she made her own syrup. And apparently it was like very good. So she decided to, hey, let's bottle this thing and sell it and to people and all that. And of course, you know, that took off and everything. It was eventually bought out by Quaker Oats to sell and everything. So it's an American story, actually. So why are we taking it off? Her face off the bottle? It just doesn't make sense to me. And her like great grandson is upset about this. Like, guys, like, why would you do this? Like, she worked hard to get that brand built up. So why in the world are you gonna take her off that bottle? That does not make sense. And they're doing the same thing with Uncle Ben's rice and everything. I don't know his full story either, but I'm guessing it's probably pretty similar to Aunt Gemini's story. It just this whole thing of just canceling every single thing the left doesn't like is getting completely overboard. And you know how overboard it is getting? Here's how overboard is getting. So, Mike Gundy, who is the football coach for the Oklahoma State University. So, there was a picture he posted on Facebook, I believe, that was basically him with his, I think, 2 sons, or maybe 2 other players for the team. And I'll show the picture right here. So you look at the picture, it actually, you can see that they're fishing and everything. That's pretty good catch too. And basically, the left freaked out and tried to cancel him over this picture. Why? Well, if you look closely here, he did the grave sin wearing an OAN T-shirt, One American News Network T-shirt. Yeah, that's his grave sin that he committed. I'm serious. That's all he did. So there's this guy named Kyle Boone who basically took that picture and posted it on Twitter, and here's what he had to say. Mike Gundy went fishing on Lake Texoma, donning a OAN T-shirt. Ooh, he wore a OAN T-shirt. Oh, that must means he's our evil, racist, white supremacist. He must be canceled, and everything. Yeah, and pretty much that's what the left did. They went out were so outraged by this. Like, how dare he wear an OAN T-shirt? And look, I don't agree with everything OAN does, and they have some good stuff with them, but it's not like they're like a completely racist, white supremacist network. They're far from it. So, like, I just don't understand the outrage over this a T-shirt, and this prompted one of the I think players, Chuba Hubbard. I hope I'm getting that name right. And here's what he had to say about this. I will not stand for this. This is completely insensitive to everything going on in the society and is unacceptable. I will not be doing anything with Oklahoma State until things change. Are you kidding me? You're going to stop playing. You're going to try to boycott the football team over him wearing a T-shirt. And there's people trying to get him fired from the job over a T-shirt. A T-shirt. Are you kidding me? And what's even more stupid, that he actually went on, posted a video and apologized for this. He has nothing to apologize for. Nothing. He does not owe the public an apology for wearing a T-shirt. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't owe the public. You don't need the tone for wearing a T-shirt. You don't need to ask for forgiveness from people for wearing a T-shirt. You don't. And people are saying that you must atone for wearing a T-shirt. No, I won't. So it is so aggravating to see this, and you know how stupid this is getting. You know how even more stupid this is getting. So, Variety posted a piece a couple days ago, highlighting 10 problematic films that could use warning labels. So, what are these problematic films right here? Well, here's a few of them. So one is Dirty Harry with, I believe that's Clint Eastwood. Sorry. Basically, here's their reasoning for why Dirty Harry is problematic. Lieutenant Harry Callahan of San Francisco Police Department is determined to uphold the law, even if he has to break the rules. It started a craze for movies about maverick cops who get the job done by following their instincts rather than the law. The film mocks liberal judges and do-gooders. Ooh, they mock liberal judges and ooh. They can't mock liberals. And the villain claims police brutality, planting the seed that other such charges are fake moves to get sympathy. So yeah, that's the reason why it's problematic and all that. It might be canceled or whatever. That's stupid enough. But here's the stupidest cancellation of the problematic thing they listed here. Is like, so everybody knows and loves Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is just an amazing movie all around. Like, I mean, how can you not love it? Seriously, it's such an excellent movie. So, but Variety decided that this was problematic. So, here's why they say Forrest Gump, of all things, is problematic. Forrest Gump was made by intelligent people, won 6 Oscars, and is beloved by many. While the film is condescending to anyone with a disability, Vietnam vets, and people with AIDS, among others, is actually hostile to protesters and activists and the counterculture. Basically, it paints, the protesters and everything in not such a good light, which there were a lot not so good people in the protests during that time, so it actually probably is more of a realistic kind of picture of what that was like and everything. So that's that, and the whole kind of counterculture thing going on. It paints that in a bad light too, which is like it's voodoo and Hollywood now. You can't. The 60s are now like excellent paradise times, according to Left Now. And that was a great moment for society and everything, which in the reality is, it was not a good moment for society at all. And I'm not saying I'm not talking about the whole the race protest or anything. That the Civil Rights Act was excellent and everything. The race protests by Martin Luther King and everything, that was all good. But I'm talking about the whole counterculture thing involving like sex, drugs, and all that, and crime and everything. That was not the good stuff that happened in the 60s. And which led to the 70s, where crime was just rampant. So, and it continues on right here. As a bonus, lovable Tyler character Nathan Bedford Forrest was named after his grandfather, the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So, I mean, and again, that's basically the joke. That's basically taken as a joke in the beginning of the movie and everything. Because if you remember watching the Forrest Gump, basically he said that he was named after some guy who started a club where people wore hoods or something like that. That was Forrest Gump's exclamation for that, because here's the cool thing about Forrest Gump. He's such a simple guy, and he doesn't. Of course, he has a kind of mental disability, and so he doesn't know any better on what those people were. But that's what's so cool about him. Like, he's so simple and everything. He just so it makes the movie so good. So now the movie's problematic and could be canceled. It's like I don't know. It's like they did other movies like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. because it portrays villains as bloodthirsty foreigners in like stereotypical depictions of India and Hindu customs or something stupid like that. Yeah, they name a lot of movies right here. It's Silence of the Lambs and everything. I'm sorry, like seriously, guys, seriously, you're gonna try to cancel these movies because it might be problematic to you. Grow a spine, please. Like, grow a spine if you're gonna be that freaked out over a movie. And this whole thing, they're going after every single little thing. They try to cancel Taco Bell because there was one manager at one store who was saying that their employees can't wear like Black Lives Matter t-shirts or something like that. Which is, as far as I know, like Taco Bell has a standard actual uniform they have to wear when working. So I don't know why that would be a big deal in the first place, but that prompted social media to go after the entire Taco Bell franchise and try to cancel them, which just doesn't make sense. Like, why in the world would you try to cancel an entire franchise over one store out of the thousands in the United States? Seriously, guys, seriously, get over yourselves over this. And they want you, and they want you to really bow down to them. Every time they try to cancel you, they want you to bow down to them and apologize. And even then, it won't even work. But if you don't, you will be ousted. You will be ousted as a sinner and a blasphemer or something like that. And you know how stupid this is getting? So the Chick-fil-A CEO, Dan Cathy, has now come out saying that white Christians should repent of racism, which doesn't make sense at all, especially if coming from Dan Cathy. Is very surprising. Which, okay, so here's the thing about for Christians, when you repent for a sin, you only repent for the sins that you committed. That's all you're doing. And even if you sin against someone else, you go to them and ask for forgiveness for the sin that you committed solely against them. That's how it works. But according to the woke anti-left, that you are held guilty for the sins of other people, including racism. You're guilty of racism even if you don't commit it. And that prompted, again, Dan Cathy here to say that white Christians should repent of racism, which is just it's so stupid beyond imagination. Like, this cancel culture is so evil in so many ways. I just can't put my words together for it. It's just, and this is why, again, I can't risk the factor, like, no matter how many times Trump ticks me off, I can't risk not voting for him to allow these people to get power. Because if Democrats were to get power with the stuff they're saying now, if they were to get control of the government, we will be going down to a dark place, because they will now have the power to basically punish anyone who says something they don't like, they don't agree with, and it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get very ugly if this continues. So again, this is why, despite all the stuff that Trump says and does, that I will still vote for him. And like, for example, what he was doing this week, John Bolton came out with a book about Trump and everything. Like, he left on not so good terms with the president, and he came out with a book saying all kind of basically trashing Trump for many things he did. But the thing is, it's not like a revelation book or anything. We already knew that he was like this. We already knew this stuff and everything. And one of the more kind of disgusting things that Trump said, according to Bolton, was that he's talking to China and everything, and the whole thing where the Xi Jinping, the dictator of China, but they're talking about concentration. Someone brought up concentration camps, that China was putting people in concentration camps, and he said, he's basically said like good for them and everything. I'm sorry, like how can you say good for them towards concentration camps? That is very disgusting right there. So, the president just like ticks me off so many times. Like it almost like drives me not to vote for him. But then I look at these people right here. So I can't risk that. I can't risk letting these people get power. So I'll continue to take the bad stuff that Trump says over these people, because at least he governs sort of conservatively. It's all disgusting in so many ways. So it's going to lead to our downfall as a country, as a united country, because eventually we're going to be politically segregated as a society, where there's only like conservative businesses and left-wing businesses, and that's not going to be good for this country, and it's going to lead to our downfall as a republic and everything. It just again, but this is why conservatives really need to get into the culture. Don't shy away from the culture and everything. Just try to get into it and fight back against the woke energy left. Like seriously, we need to do this. All right, so let's get on to the book of John right here. So, like I said, we're going to be continuing it in John chapter 13 today. So, let's get it open. And remember, you can follow me along if you want. I'll be in the New Living Translation. And today is actually over where Jesus predicts Simon Peter's denial. As soon as Judas left the room, Jesus said, "The time has come for me, for the Son of Man, to enter into his glory, and God will be glorified because of him. And since God receives glory because of the Son, he will give his own glory to the Son, and he will do so at once. Dear children, I will be with you only a little longer. And as I told the Jewish leaders, you will search for me, but you can't come where I am going. So now I'm giving you a new commandment: love each other, just as I have loved you, and you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." Simon Peter asked, "Lord, where are you going?" And Jesus replied, "You can't go with me now, but you will follow me later." "But why can't I come now, Lord?" He says, I'm ready to die for you." And then Jesus answered, "Die for me? I tell you the truth, Peter, before the rooster crows tomorrow, you will deny me. You will deny 3 times that you even know me." So that's the end of chapter 13 right there. It is very interesting passage where Jesus again predicts Peter's denial and everything. Like Peter was all getting ready to say, "Oh, I'm ready to die for you, Lord," but Peter already knows his heart and says, when time comes, you would deny me 3 times," which is it's really surprising that he denied Jesus in that way, because just look at the story where Peter came from. He was he was a fisherman before this, and he was very feisty and bold and everything, and had a bad temper, but and he was in a bad place. But when Jesus came, he was and he knew that Jesus was the Messiah, he brought him down to his knees, like crying in front of him, saying like forgive me, Lord, like I'm a sinful man, like just apart from me. But then Jesus like asked him to follow him, and he did. So it's like, but you see throughout kind of the Gospels that he has struggled to fully like trust him. But it's so surprising, like after like seeing the many things that Jesus did, like he was still like deny him like that. It's really quite surprising. So alright, so I'll be starting John chapter 14 next week, so we'll get on to that. But now let's get on to the good stuff and bad stuff of the week. So some good stuff of the week. I'm talking about like I'm going back to the cancel culture thing. So here's another stupid thing that happened. So about almost 8 years ago, back in 2012, and this was a woman named Kaylee McGaney. I'm probably getting her name wrong, but she was a former press secretary for the Trump campaign, and in 2012 she tweeted this out. Fun fact: Domino's is way better than any New York City pizza. Scratches my nose, is itchy right now. And then this prompted Domino's Pizza to respond. This is the same day back in 2012. That's one heck of a compliment. Thanks for the love. We appreciate it. # we appreciate it. Which is like it's something that a lot of businesses do when you compliment them like on social media like that. They actually reply back and say thank you for the compliment and everything. So this prompted this so after this, for some reason, a guy named Rick Wilson, decided to dig up the tweet and like very recently, and here's what he tweeted out: "You just killed your brand," which is very strange overall. Like how did they kill the brand? For simply complimenting someone who complimented them, or thanking someone who complimented them. And this prompted to the whole entire thing where we need to cancel Domino's for daring to saying thank you to a conservative, to someone who worked for Trump. Now, and so like Domino's is now complicit with white supremacy now for some reason. So, but here's the cool thing about this. So most companies would have like said apologize and say, sorry, we are very sorry for this. We should have known better. We'll now learn, we'll do better in the future. And they would probably deleted that tweet. But not Domino's. Domino's came back and replied to Rick Wilson and said, well, it's fortunate that thanking a customer for a compliment back in 2012 would it be viewed as political. Guess that's 2020 for you. Bravo to Domino's right there. That is how you respond to the mob, the political mob right there. That's exactly how you respond. You don't. I'm sorry. If the political mob were to ever come after you, you do not apologize to them. You owe no apology to them for something you did, wrong or not. I'm sorry, you don't. All right, so let's again. That's just amazing on all the levels. So let's get into some bad stuff of the week. So some bad stuff of the week. Actually, today happening is the Trump rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and of course, it's going to be a lot of people going there, and of course, there's a lot of concerns going on about COVID, even though it's. Whatever. There might be a spike after this. We just don't know. But, of course, the left is going insane right now. Like, he is putting people in danger because of this. He's going to cause second wave. Which, again, these are the same exact people who were saying that the protests were fine. That if you're protesting for the right reasons, for the things that the left agrees with, you are basically immune to the virus. Like the virus is now woke. Like it won't attack you if you're woke, which is dumb on all occasions. And there has been a spike in some cases. It's a very small spike, by the way. It's not like a major second wave. But the media is trying to point out, saying it's because it's reopening later. Reopening early, I mean. Which doesn't make sense because like the protests started about 2 weeks ago. So you would think that's probably the reason why there's a spike. But the fact is there's not a major spike in it should tell you that this virus is not as bad as it really is. And the fact that the leftists continue to make this political on all levels, saying that it's okay for their people to do this, but it's not okay for these people to do this, that should tell you that this virus is not as bad as people are making it out to be. It simply isn't. But we'll see what comes out of it or whatever. Alrighty, so I'll be back here next week with all the latest. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is the God of Freedom Show. If you enjoyed this episode of the God of Freedom Show, hit that like button and follow the page to get more content. You can also find me on your favorite podcast listening sites like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Thank you for listening or watching.